Good morning, children. Till now, we were doing geography chapter named climate. I hope you all have completed your notebooks. Now, again we will continue with the geography itself, and we will start with another chapter named natural vegetation and wildlife. Children, what do you mean when I say natural vegetation? Natural vegetation means the plants which occur naturally or grow on their own without the aid of human beings. So, natural vegetation we can say grows without anybody's help. The plants they come out on their own and they become into the tall trees. So our today's lesson is based on natural vegetation only. In this we are going to study the factors which affect the natural vegetation, and then further we will continue with the different types of vegetation found in our country India. So let's start with an explanation of natural vegetation and wildlife. So children, what is natural vegetation? Natural vegetation refers to a plant community which has grown naturally without human aid. And when the natural vegetation are left untouched for over long period of time, it is called virgin. Now, what is virgin vegetation? Virgin vegetation is of two types. Endemic vegetation, which means plant species originated inside the country. Exotic vegetation means plant species originated outside the country. So, in the beginning, children, we have learned three terms. First, natural vegetation overall, what it is. Then we have studied virgin vegetation, and it is divided into two: endemic vegetation and exotic vegetation. Now, factors affecting diversity in flora and fauna. That is, what are the factors which affect the animal life and the plant life? So basically there are three features. First, relief. Second, climate. And third is ecosystem. Then these three factors are further classified. In relief, we will be studying land and soil. In climate, we will be studying temperature, photoperiod and precipitation. And finally, we will be discussing ecosystem. So let's start with relief first. In relief, first we will study land. Children, land affects the natural vegetation both directly and indirectly. The nature of land influences the type of vegetation. For example, fertile land is generally devoted to agriculture, and the rough terrain areas where grasslands and woodlands develop, they give shelter to a variety of wildlife. So land affects the natural vegetation directly as well as indirectly, and the nature of land, it influences the type of vegetation. Then next is soil. Children, you all are familiar that there are so many different types of soil. So different types of soil, they provide a basis for different types of vegetation, which means that some crops are grown in some type of soil while the other crops are grown in different types of soil. And besides that in desert there are different types of soil. Then deltaic vegetation is there. So different types of soil, they provide a basis for different types of vegetation. For example, Sandy soils of desert, it supports cacti and thorny bushes, whereas wet, marshy and deltaic soil supports mangroves and deltaic vegetation. The hill slopes with some depth of soil have conical trees. So, different types of soil, it affects the different type of vegetation. Then comes climate. In climate, as I have told you, first is temperature. The character and extent of vegetation are mainly determined by temperature, humidity in air, pressure and soil. An area with high temperature and high humidity supports evergreen forest, while an area with high temperature and humidity and low humidity supports thorny forest. So, different type of temperature, it supports different types of vegetation. Now, the second in this climate is photoperiod, which means sunlight. Duration of sunlight, it also affects the vegetation, and this duration of sunlight, it depends on latitude, altitude, season and duration of the day. Trees grow faster in summer because of longer photoperiod. So, trees, they grow faster in summer season because they get the sunshine for a longer period of time. Then next is precipitation. In India, almost the entire rainfall is brought in by the advancing monsoon, and this advancing monsoon occurs from June to September, and retreating monsoons when the monsoon goes out of our country. Then areas of heavy rainfall, they have dense vegetation as compared to other areas of less rainfall. So, children, we can say that precipitation or rainfall is also very important, and it plays a very important role for the growth of the different types of vegetation. Then the last is ecosystem. All the plants and animals in an area, they are interdependent and also interrelated to each other in their physical environment, and thus they forms an ecosystem. And children, you know that human beings, they are also an integral part of the ecosystem. They utilize the vegetation and also the wildlife, and the greed of human beings leads to overutilization of these resources. They cut the trees and even they kill the animals, thus creating economical imbalance. And what happens as a result? Some plants and even animals, they have reached the verge of extinction. A very large ecosystem on land having distinct types of vegetation and animal life is called a biome, and the biomes are identified on the basis of plants. So, ecosystem also plays an important role in the growth of the vegetation, as we all know that the plants and animals, they are interdependent and interrelated to each other, and thus they forms an ecosystem. Now children, importance of forest. You all are very much familiar with the importance of forest. So, this topic, this heading is very important for you all to understand and even to remember it. They influence climate and cause rainfall. So, what is the main importance of forests? They influence climate and they even cause rainfall. They reduce soil erosion. How they reduce soil erosion? The thick trees, the branches, the roots of the trees, they hold the soil and they did not allow the soil to be eroded when there is heavy rainfall. They even control wind force and temperature. These forests, they provide shelter to various animal species. They also support a variety of industries. The best example is the paper in which you write, the paper from which your books and copies are made. They even offer panoramic or scenic view for recreation, means they provide the natural beauty for recreation and also for photo shoot. They even control flood. How do they control flood? These thick forests, these thick trees, they control the water system. They do not allow the water to enter everywhere where there are forests, big trees. And the most important is they purify the air. How? They give us oxygen, which is very helpful for the human beings. So this is how they purify the air. Children, there are still many more importance, the uses and the advantages of forest. You can think and learn many more of them. Then we will study the types of vegetation. So basically there are 5 different types of vegetation. First is tropical evergreen forest. Second, tropical deciduous forest. Third, tropical thorn forests and scrubs. Fourth, montane forests. And last is mangrove forest. So these 5 different types of vegetation we will be studying in the next class. Till then, children, you all go through the chapter and mark all the important points related with this chapter. That's all for today. Thank you. Have a good day.